Royal Lodge, a residence defined not by opulence but by history. Nestled in Windsor Great Park, it is more than a home. It is a symbol, a dwelling of status, a quiet assertion of the privileges of royal life. And now, the epicenter of an unfolding, uneasy conversation within the House of Windsor. Before we continue, there's something I need to share. Over the past few days, thousands have followed these stories, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crown Ververse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal narrative. The story begins not with the king, but with his son, Prince William, the Prince of Wales, heir to the throne, a man increasingly regarded not just as the future of the monarchy, but its present enforcer. He is stepping into a role that extends far beyond ribbon-cutting and public appearances. And this role, quiet, strategic, has positioned him at the center of a delicate, perhaps even ruthless, familial reckoning. It concerns his uncle, Prince Andrew, and more quietly, it involves his cousins, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. The details are disputed. Some say William has encouraged his cousins to speak with their father. Others claim the conversation never occurred. But what matters is not merely the event itself, but the weight of the suggestion, the sense of pressure. The whispered warning, the titles, the very names by which Beatrice and Eugenie navigate the world, could be subject to reconsideration. The monarchy, of course, is built on the architecture of titles: Duke, Duchess, Prince, Princess, each one a key to certain doors, to ceremonial privileges, to moments in the spotlight. But these keys can be altered. They can be revoked. Not easily, not quietly, but symbolically. And sometimes that symbolism carries more weight than law. Within this family, a question arises: who decides who belongs? Royal Lodge has been home to Prince Andrew since 2003. He moved in with the authority of a senior royal, reinforced by patronages, engagements, military honors. But time has worn away that standing. The Duke of York's public fall from grace has been slow, steady, and painful to observe. And now, as the dust of scandal continues to settle, if indeed it ever can, the question of his residence remains. It is not a matter of legality. It is a matter of optics, of image, of legacy. And here steps in Prince William, the man who will inherit not only the crown, but the institution that upholds it. He is regarded as modern, prepared, and increasingly decisive, and according to some, he is now the driving force behind the push to end his uncle's long tenure at Royal Lodge. But how do you remove a man who will not leave? You appeal to what he values most. Not the house, not the past, but the future. You speak to his daughters. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie were born into the heart of royalty, granddaughters of the Queen, nieces of the future king. And yet, for most of their adult lives, they have navigated a peculiar space. Neither working royals nor private citizens, they tread the royal tightrope with cautious grace, attending weddings, trooping the color, and the occasional state banquet, while also holding careers, raising families, and building lives beyond palace walls. But their identities remain tied to the system that named them. They are princesses. Their titles are not ornamental. They are intrinsic. And to suggest those titles might be reconsidered even quietly, even without confirmation, is to imply something far more personal. It is to say, your place is not guaranteed. That's the quiet force behind the whispered message, the supposed warning. Whether or not William spoke these words, the implication hangs in the air around Royal Lodge like autumn fog. Get your father to move, or the questions will come to you. We must distinguish between what is confirmed and what is not. There is no record of an official meeting between William and his cousins. There is no evidence that titles are formally under review. But in royal circles, the absence of confirmation does not imply absence of intent. This family rarely speaks in statements. It speaks in gestures, in absences, in who is invited and who is not, in what is said behind closed doors, or in what is left unsaid. And so Beatrice and Eugenie now occupy a curious position, publicly unchanged, privately uncertain. Did they speak with William? We cannot say. But what is undeniable is that their father is under pressure to leave his home, that he has stepped back from all public roles, and that the family's image, fragile and fiercely protected, is now a shared responsibility. William's role in this is more than familial. It is institutional. He is preparing not only to inherit a throne, but to safeguard it. And safeguarding it may mean drawing boundaries even around blood. It may mean asking, what does it mean to be a royal? Does it mean serving? Does it mean holding fast to tradition? Or does it mean adapting, responding, evolving? For William, perhaps it means all three. And perhaps in his vision of the future, there is no room for ambiguity, no space for shadows, no tolerance for unresolved scandal quietly lingering on Windsor estate. And so even without formal words, a message emerges. This is what is expected. This is what must be done. Royal Lodge is not just a house. It is memory. It is a reminder of a time when Prince Andrew was front and center, a naval officer, a working royal, a man at ease in the public eye. Those days are gone. What remains is a structure too large to ignore, too symbolic to leave untouched. The idea of Andrew remaining there while stripped of his roles, his responsibilities, even his title, is a contradiction, one the institution cannot ignore indefinitely. And if persuasion fails, if legal action would be too public, too confrontational, then what remains? Family pressure, the weight of legacy, the quiet suggestion that others may bear the consequences. That is where Beatrice and Eugenie reappear, not as political actors, not as pawns, but as daughters, as intermediaries, as symbols of what Andrew might lose and what the monarchy might risk if his chapter is not quietly closed. For the princesses, this may feel like betrayal or burden. They have stood by their father publicly and privately. They have walked beside him when few others would. Their loyalty is not performative. It is profound, familial, unyielding. And yet they are also loyal to the crown, to their grandmothers, memory, to the legacy of service they were born into. How do they reconcile those loyalties now? What happens when protecting their father may jeopardize their own future? What happens when silence is no longer sufficient? These are not abstract questions. They are personal, painful, unresolved. And the palace, quiet, disciplined, offers no comment. It simply observes. There is a stillness now at Royal Lodge, waiting. The media swirl has faded. The helicopters have gone. But inside, the tension endures. Beatrice and Eugenie continue their lives, one with a young daughter, the other with a newborn. They smile at charity galas, attend family weddings, offer glimpses into their lives through carefully chosen photographs, but the story persists in the background. The question is not if Andrew will leave Royal Lodge. It is when, how, and at what cost. Because in this royal family, no chapter is ever truly closed. It simply waits to be reopened. And as Prince William takes step after step into the role of monarch in waiting, we will witness more of this, more of the quiet pruning, the careful shaping, the unspoken expectations. He is not merely preparing to wear the crown. He is preparing to safeguard it. And for Beatrice and Eugenie, the cost of that preparation may one day arrive at their door. Not in the form of a letter, not with a proclamation, but with an invitation declined, a public event missed, a subtle removal from the balcony, not stripped of their titles, but gradually edged into irrelevance, not cast out, but allowed to drift. That is how royal change often unfolds, not with thunder, but with silence, not with confrontation, but with distance. And the greatest tragedy is that it can occur without a single word ever being spoken aloud. So now we are left with questions. What does it mean to be a royal in a time of transformation? Where is the line between family and institution? And how long can a door remain open before it quietly closes, never to be unlocked again? Royal Lodge stands for now, but so do the topsy eyes of the public, watching, waiting. The story is far from over. Not for Andrew, not for William, and certainly not for the princesses caught between them. Will the future be one of reconciliation or retreat, of legacy or loss? The answer, as always in the House of Windsor, may lie not in what is said, but in what is done next.